Yo, what's up, guys? It's Damnation-n-Hellfire here, and we're here for episode 38 of Battle Pirates Crow's Nest. And Bounty 9 is live, so we're going to be talking about that somewhat and some other things. Tonight we got Vlad,
Yo.
we got Ross Crow,
Good evening.
and we got RB.
Howdy, everyone.
And I'm feeling a little under the weather tonight, so I'm just going to be chiming in every now and then with a few sharp witticisms here and there. But for the most part, I'm going to be turning it over to Ross, and he's going to take over. So here you go, Ross.
All right.
I'll get
Sounds
screen
good.
sharing started so we can do the slides.
Well, tonight we're right in the middle of bounties that just started off. And so the first slide here we have is on the Forsaken Mission. The tier, we're talking about the 111 target, and the payout here has been increased to 150K. And the 111 and the 103 targets are restricted to tier 6 or lower. However, so your the new hulls are not allowed in those, but you are able to bring back out the Zelos fleets to do those. I know that's a pretty this one's pretty big issue with everyone.
I'm just going to throw it out right now. This will be one of the ones where I'm chiming in a little bit on. I think adding tier restrictions to the FM is total, absolute fucking bullshit. I mean, and it saddens me how many people are willing to just roll over and take it and not realize the long-term implications of this. It's not so much about what we got going on right now. It's that now that they've snuck tier restrictions into the FM, you can guarantee it's probably there to stay. And in the future, it's going to really come back and bite you in the ass. In my opinion, it's just part of their long-term goal to try to monetize the FM. It started with putting limited prices in the FM, increasing the amount of points that we have to get, and now this is the second step with restricting tiers and what targets they can hit. Because like not even in the raid can higher level targets not hit down. Yes, lower targets cannot hit some of the higher level, or lower fleets can't hit some of the higher level targets, but higher fleets can always hit down even in raids, and this is absolute fucking bullshit.
Well, and for myself, it requires me to keep well, I mean, it doesn't require it, but I am now breaking back out my icebreakers and hitting 111s. That's just ridiculous to me. Instead of progressing and moving forward and building because my fleet that is supposed to be doing the weekly, it is not doing the weekly well. I'm just not. So this whole weekly thing for me is a debacle. But I'm along for the ride, and I'm glad the 111s are at 150K. I'll say that, and I'm glad they're right now on the map.
I got to tell you, I think Damnation's giving Kixeye a lot of credit when he says their long-term goal to monetize the FM, because I don't think it's a long-term goal. I think it was supposed to be a this week goal, and all they've done with this is push it off by a couple of weeks. My dragons are not done. I haven't had a chance to finish them. I take dragons into targets, and they get abused pretty good. I can do the 2 targets before I have to repair them, and the repairs are ridiculously long. The amount of points that they are requiring to, quote, finish the FM, unquote, each week means that the 111 at 150K is just going to be an interminable grind. And I'm with Ross in the sense that I would like to see them going forward and not backward. I am actually glad that they brought the 111 back. If giving up being able to hit the 111 with Dragon is what it took to get it back on the map, well, yes, we're going to get screwed by it in the future. It's not an if, it's a when, because it's never an if.
Yeah.
But at least for now, you have a lot of people whose only chance at doing the FM is hitting the 111 because their dragons are not even close to being, ready for prime time. So if that keeps those players around until we can figure something out and get a correct build out and give them a chance to get it built, then that's the deal with the devil you have to make.
Right.
But then again, I mean, for a lot of people, it's not. They weren't even hitting 111s because their dragons weren't ready. They were hitting 111s because an hour and a half damage on a 112 is just totally fucking unacceptable.
I wish that all my breakers took on a 112 was an hour and a half.
Or like, using dragons on a 117, like 4 to 8 hours is totally fucking unacceptable. That's why people were stepping down and using their dragons in the 111s. I mean, but now saying, oh, you can do the 111s, but you can only use these other fleets. Well, the only thing you've done is make people just say, well, fuck dragons. I'm just going to go back to using my old shit. Yeah, it's like Ross said, you're not encouraging us to move forward at all. You're just making us, sit on our haunches and do nothing is basically what you're doing at this point.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, instead of actually, because all this is just a backpedal and backpedal and a backpedal. All they need to do is stop fart-assing around with the 117s, just lower the damage a bit, and like all of this other stuff can just go away, because the whole point of it is that there's too much damage in the 117. So, it's just bad decision after bad decision and trying to put band-aids on oozing wounds.
Or to me too, just lift that tier restriction. 5 fucking years we've been doing the FM and we haven't had a tier restriction. Why all of a sudden now is it a problem?
Yeah.
They say, oh, well, we're doing this so people can, find the targets that they need to. Well, you haven't cared for 5 years, man. Why do you suddenly care now?
Let's just come right out and call that for the bullshit that it is. They're the ones who set the spawn rates on the targets. If you want people to be able to find 111s, just spawn more of them and people will be able to find them. They've used that argument in the past. It has never held water with me. That is bullshit. They could put 1,000 111s in each sector and have them respawn immediately. They control how much we get the targets.
Yeah, remember when they did it with the elite cargoes way back in the day when you had like one would spawn, like people's bases would just be all of a sudden taken over by all those elite cargoes and you couldn't even see their freaking base anymore. You can do that with the 111s.
Anytime that they say it's so the players can find a target when they need one, they're lying to you. That's just trying to tell people what they want to hear.
I go back to putting all the FM targets in the campaign tower, and then you don't have to worry about it at all. But
there you go. Okay, slide 2.
We're still working on slide 1.
Slide 2.
This is going to be a long show.
Cut me off on my own show.
Well, I think we got more on the. Oh, okay. Well, we move into the retrofit, and in this update, we have several halls that are in the retrofit lab now: Apollo, Revenge, Spite, and the Vanquisher. This one here is the Apollo, and what we have here from it's R1 to R10, and R1 the ship excuse me, the building damage DPS is increased by 100. R2 it's increased by 200. And R3 increased by 300 and so forth. R4, 400. And then R5, it's increased to 600. And the penetrative accuracy is also increased to 20% along with the penetrative reload of 25%. At R6, the ship building DPS starts increasing to 700%. And then at R7, it increases to 8, continues up. R8, to 900, and at R9 it goes up to 1,000. Now at R10 the ship DPS is increased to 1,200, and then the penetrative reload is also increased at that point to 35%, and the flak evade bonus is also an additional 10%. So these are actually some good figures on an old hull.
And for the Revenge, you're going to look at R1 bumping the DPS. R2 adds to the concussive reload. R3 concussive corrosive radioactive deflection goes up. R4 is an increase in explosive deflection. R5 increases 2 different kinds of deflection plus bumps weight. R6 increases ship and building DPS. R7 is another concussive reload. R8 is more 3-style deflection. R9 is explosive deflection going to 80,000. And then at R10, you've got ballistic and penetrative deflection going up and another bump in weight. Has anybody seen the times on these? Is this going to be another one where the R5 and the R10 is going to be like 3 weeks each? Because I got to tell you, if it is, I'm not sure that anybody's really going to bother with this on 2-year-old ships. I'll be honest. I finally got around to recycling the last of my Revenge to make room for dragons, so I didn't even have any of them.
Yeah,
and
that one's a real mixed bag too, isn't it? So you get a bit of everything by the looks of it. Okay, so we've got the Vanquisher as well. So this one, it's probably a bit more current in the game, I guess. So you've got your DPS increasing to 200 and you're unreactive. R2, can I have one of those? Who's cracking one? DPS increased to 50.
It's just an iced tea, that's all.
Oh, rubbish. Don't lie to me. Anyway, you can see it going up quite a bit. R4, we start getting into the radioactive reload. 5, fully unreactive and more weight. And then, as you can see, it's stepping up each increment. And again, by the time you get to R10, you've got your DPS increased to 4,300. A bit more radioactive range, which is probably handy. And you'll get the 9125 tons. But, yeah, they're long. It's going to take a long time, so...
because that bought 5 Vanquisher defense fleet wasn't annoying enough. Let's make it even more so.
Yeah. Well, it's going to take a long time to get it even more annoying, though.
Well, true. I'm just saying this.
Well, and
I agree.
These are pretty good numbers, on certain things. I like the reload, and that's at R8. So, it's a decent, out of the whole list, this is the only one that I would consider myself, doing. Yeah. I don't use it in any. I don't use the Vanquisher, but it certainly has its place in the current game. So, shockingly, it's done well.
And if you're one of the ones that bought the fleet, it could be worth looking at doing some of these.
I got to say this. Some of you will remember that I used to appear in other media. And one of the things I always fussed about there was that unreactive was not a binary value, that there was a number assigned to it. It wasn't just yes or no. So I'm going to give them a thumbs up on actually acknowledging that and giving us what the reactive number actually is for each of these retrofits.
Yeah.
Right. And knowing that at what point it is fully unreactive,
Yep.
That's a great deal. So you're right.
So as much as we've got bad to say about some of the other things that happened in this week's update, good on them for realizing that.
Yeah, I think I was doing the Spite as well. So again, this one's a real mixed bag. You've got bits and pieces of everything. So, starting off at your
actually looks pretty much like the bits and pieces that they had for the Revenge.
Yeah. Well, you've got your slow resistance in there as well, so it's quite good. And ending up right at the end at R10, plus 10% evade, radioactive deflection to 900k, and weight to 9125 again. So as you go down through the steps, it is probably bringing the Spite back to a bit more of a usable ship if anyone's still got any. I think I've got some, but you know, again, it's a long voyage to get all this done.
And another question with the pace that PvP has been moving, are these retrofit levels going to be obsolete before you can attain them?
That's a really good point.
Right. I haven't sat down myself looking at the numbers and you know and pulled out the hull and to see if will that make it today in a base today. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they're certainly making them more usable. I don't know whether it's still going to be, you know, whether there's something that we're not seeing or whatever. But by the time it's all said and done,
right? I know. I will give 2 thumbs up on the Vanquisher, on the Spite. I would, you know, maybe do that after you do the Vanquisher, if that's a hull you're still using.
Yeah. I'm just looking in the game now, and I just picked the Spite because that's the first one I saw. And even just to do the first one, it's 1 day, 5 hours. So you can imagine by the time you get to R10, we're still going to be talking so far down, you know, months time. So
I am intrigued by that 900,000 radioactive deflection, though.
Right.
Makes me wonder if something's coming down the pipeline sooner rather than later for a radioactive hull.
I think you're on the right track there.
But okay, we also have a number of campaigns this week. Titan Rising campaign is one of them that has returned, and that runtime there is April 24th at noon, May 1st, and then to May 1st at noon. And that's PDT time. Now the Mega Ship TLC, you must own the Mega Ship, the hull, to participate in it, of course. Now the prize pack 1, the prizes for that are the Concrete Rocket Module, the Pyro Engine Module, a 6-hour Mega Build Module times 6. So that's it. They're actually coming out with a decent amount of tokens this way. It's an odd way of doing it, but that's a good amount of build time there. And prize pack 2, you're going to pick up the Missile Strike Drone Module, the Drone Bridge Module, and the 6-hour Mega Builds times 6 again. And prize pack 3, you're going to pick up the Exocet, I believe it's similar pronounced, Missile Module. You're going to pick up the 6-hour building module, but on this one times 3. The prize pack 4, your rockets is Rocket Drone Strike Module. Now that's the latest and greatest in the Hyperion. So if you're out for the top things, that's the one to get. And you also pick up 3 of the 6-hour Mega Build Module tokens in that. Now I have gone through this one myself, just to prize pack 3 this time. I've done it before. It's an interesting one. It's not like ones in the past. Primarily, you want to be aware and make sure you're covered in all directions. I will say that just to be safe. In these encounters, there's going to be mega ships in front of you and possibly on both sides. Well, and on both sides in some of the encounters. So make sure you have your offenses in all directions.
And don't forget that in between encounters too, even if your turrets are on your mega are damaged, you can still move them around.
Yes, definitely. I mean, even if you lose, if one's dead, if you lose your front turret and you have, switch it out, change it out, and you can move it while it's dead even. So do it. It's a good thing. And you don't have to go back to back also. The second you're done with the one battle, you check your timer. And if you need, just to give yourself as much time as you can to repair and being able to complete these. So that's another thing. You have sometimes you have, almost an hour to repair. So it's a good thing.
If you're like me and have a big problem with short-term memory, though, don't try that. Because you're like, oh, let it repair for 10 minutes. Next thing you know, it's an hour and a half later, and you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah, that's not good.
My problem with all these prize packs is the one thing that's not in there is the resources that you have to build. And my mega has been stuck at 269, level 269 forever because, if you've got to build those silly resources, you get taken away before you accumulate enough of them.
Well, you don't have to build resources anymore for what, like the first 3 levels or the first 2 levels or whatever of each thing.
Well, they lowered it down to you still do have to build them, but it's just it is such
I
a
thought for rank 1 and rank 2, it didn't take any of the resources at all.
That's possible. I'm not sure.
Yeah. So at 269, I'm pretty sure you don't have all your stuff at like R1 or R2 or whatever. So you can still easily do them. All you need is some titanium, not pieces.
What I've used this for, I have my Hyperion built, but I've gone through and done these, and I enjoy using these tokens to change the weapons. The second, I guess we call them the secondary weapons on them. To upgrade them to these times. I've noticed that I had tier even 1.5 weapons on it when I started building the Hyperion. So I've just used these tokens to go back through and change those out. I don't coin my Hyperion. I don't coin battles with the Hyperion really. And so, but I do these, and I enjoy the tokens. Okay.
I was just checking real quick on the bug fix and tuning list to see if they had the SOS issue fixed with refit megas. Yeah, they did. Okay. Because I was about ready to tell people, hey, until you're sure if they have that bug fixed, don't be trying to spend your tokens because that would not end well for you. But yeah, they fixed that. So anyway, back to overdamage. Go ahead, RB.
Didn't you skip forward? I thought we were doing. All right. Yep. Sorry.
Yeah, let's do this.
Yeah. Whoa, my favorite one of all is the new overdamage stat, the new ability. So weapons with this ability will deal at least this much damage beyond the target's deflection value. This value is applied per projectile and per damage type. Overdamage is currently not affected by bonus damage effects, and it's been retroactively applied to the 2XQ mortar, the Siege Missile D55X, and the Siege Rockets L100 CT. And we're probably not going to worry about talking about it because guess what? We've rejected it already, which is good because, quite frankly, it sucked. So this is the latest little blurb that's come out. So they've heard the feedback about the overdamage. Team is committed to reevaluating this new feature. Hopefully, reevaluating means remove. The intention of this feature was to help correct the problem of when you hit a player base or a replica base and you would not be able to defeat the guard fleet in time. So unfortunately, the impact of this was on tier 6 fleet was more dramatic than we anticipated. So now we're anticipating releasing a revision to overdamage values as soon as possible after Bounty Season 9 concludes. So they're not removing it during Bounty, of course not. We do not want to change how the event works while you're participating, as this would give some players an unfair advantage after the event has begun. This will also mean that anyone with tier 7 weapons will have much easier time getting through replica bases, which is the primary source of bounty points. Could have come up with a different solution, but anyway, never mind. To help you, you can tell that I'm happy with this one, to help you adapt with the new change, as well as the problems with the countermeasures, we're going to be turning on global half repair, which is nice that they've done this until Saturday at 11:59 PM PDT. This stacks with Defender repair discount to reduce it to 25%. Who's anyone whose guard fleet is adapting to overdamage? Well, we didn't get get time to adapt, so never mind. To see the half repair, you'll need to refresh the game. We're sorry for all the confusion the abrupt release of the new stat has caused and are committed to sharing more information earlier in the future. Go.
All right. I want to chime in here. So, over damage, absolutely stupid mechanic. Totally get rid of it. If your biggest problem is that why you wanted to put it in there is because people are having problems killing guards in replica bases or player bases, here's a hint, and you would know this if you ever actually played on the live server, is people don't kill base guards anymore. They drive right through them. And we should never have to kill guards in Bounty because that's not reflective of actual real PvP. Because as I just said, in real PvP, 9 times out of 10, people don't kill guards. They just drive right through them. So, yeah, this is an idiotic mechanic. It's going to make the game even more fucking complex and complicated and confusing than what it already is with pass-through. Just scrap it. Well, that's all I got to say.
Yeah, they're not going to do that.
No.
They spent the money. They spent the money to develop something that they didn't even bother to ask us if we wanted it or needed it. And now that they've spent that money, they're going to make sure that they get some kind of return for the investment. So they're going to attempt to fix it, but they're not going to scrap it because they don't do that. They might go 6 months and then say, we just can't fix this and get rid of it like they did the FAT. But this feature is here for the immediate future. They're not just going to next week take it out of the game.
I know I spent months and tokens and a little bit of coin because I'm a tight ass. Getting a guard fleet that actually works to just be negated in a keystroke. It's just craziness.
Well, let's be honest. It almost takes it. What guard fleet will hold with this new? It isn't. It makes it so everyone. It doesn't matter what you were working on. In all honesty, I kind of like it. I don't have so much of an issue with this myself as everyone else because it increases the advantage to the attacker. Huge. It's just great.
But I mean, here's the thing, though.
But okay. I don't like that being it's lopsided. It's not right. What it is you miscalculated these weapons this whole time, and now you're saying, well, we screwed that up, so we're going to add this because it doesn't have really their explanation saying they did it because the bounty targets. That's strange to me,
I mean, things are actually finally getting to a point where, in my personal opinion, I don't know how you feel about this, but we're finally getting a little bit of balance to PvP. Like, there's still a lot of bases out there that get walked, but some of the very top handful of player bases have actually figured out a way that they can actually stop stuff from getting in their base currently or make it extremely, extremely difficult. And so what's our response to that? Oh, here's something more for the attackers to really, swing that pendulum back again, because God knows we can't have the defenders be in a good spot for a little while.
And that's what I feel like it is more. I mean, it really, that's how I look at it. And with the abruptness, and out of nowhere, there it is. Right before bounty, some people are just having fits. And in all honesty, some people's entire guards are negated because of this type of damage and the type of guard they chose. And so it really sucks for those players. And they are getting run over right on bounty right now.
And I mean, and if you wanted to have a weapon do that much in the first place, well, then why didn't you just make it a 1700 pass through on deflections or whatever the value is?
Yeah, that's my point. Right. It's not just why wasn't it right on an initial,
But I mean, we could go on for a while about this, but I guess until we see how they're going to fix it, it's not a whole lot of points. But I'm just saying, my opinion, they should just get rid of it. Then they don't have to worry about fixing it.
Yeah, I think we got other things coming too.
Yep. Two quick things just on that quickly though, because there is a bit of a silver lining, which is the half repair. So go and do your FM.
Yes,
I was also
yes,
curious
yes.
to see, does that apply to the Mega as well? I don't know because I'm not into Megas. So would that half repair carry over to the TLC for the Mega?
I don't think so.
I don't think the mechanics carry over into that ship, but it would, it would for the defending hulls of, that you were to support with, of course. Yeah. So in some way it would.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I think the best thing about it, I mean, the half repair is just my favorite part.
Yeah, it'd be good if it went to the end of the event, but still.
Right. All right, we got bug fixes and tuning. I think, Vlad, you want to go over this?
Yeah, let's take a look at our bug fixes and tuning. They've added a retreat button and nav relays. Retreat buttons are always good. We fixed an issue where users would get an SOS when attempting to refit their mega modules. We've already discussed that. We fixed an issue where the tactical focus was not centered correctly when equipped to a hull. Another graphical error. Fixed an issue where Nexus nodes would not remember their previously owned alliance at the end of King of the Nexus. Yeah, I don't know what that means even. Fixed an issue with the explosive force special visually adding an explosive range instead of reducing it. Apparently they're claiming it was only a graphical error, as it just visually added. Fixed an issue with the penetrative overlay displaying null within the affected turret stat blocks. Fixed an issue where slide loaders were adding multiple entries of their reload stats to the stat block. And fixed an issue where some users were unable to access the gantry. Isn't accessing the gantry only something that you do while you're building your mega?
I believe so.
You didn't get to access it before the gantry was built, and I can't remember going into my gantry since my mega was on the water. So maybe all the users had that, and it was just the only ones that noticed it were the ones whose megas were in construction.
The list looks, it doesn't look too impressive to me. What it does, fix the mega module SOS is the important one in the list that I see.
I think adding the retreat button and nav relays is an important one too, because that means people can now prep titanium for other people.
Okay, very good. Yeah.
So those guys who have, like the guys who have the gut spill Skyfire fleets and can take way little damage on like doing those targets, can actually prep it for people who don't have fleets that are that good and struggle with them a little bit. So that's kind of a big deal in my opinion anyway.
Yeah, that's a benefit for the whole game.
Right. Okay. Well, and then we have Bounty 9, of course. We're right in the start of it today. Runtime was
just before we go any farther, should we just ask Vlad if he wants to log out at this point?
No.
I will stick around, but you won't hear much from me other than to say that on principle, I don't do bounty.
Oh, good, very good.
I think it's just another monthly event, and we don't need 2 monthly events. And with that, y'all talk about it, and I'll be right back when y'all are done.
All right. Well, it started today at 10 a.m. PDT time, and it runs through the 30th at 10 a.m. PDT time also. It's long live the replica bases. Here's the prizes. We have the Highlander Warden, the Blunderbuss 2, the Venture Missile 2, the Field Extinguisher, Penetrative Force, Explosive Scope, and the DAV Onslaught skin. Now, for Bounty 9, the drip has been changed, and every 6 hours has been reduced to 400 bounty. But the payouts for replica bases have been increased by about 10%, thus rewarding the players who are actively attacking enemy targets.
All right, let's pause here.
Right.
I have some gripes about this.
Right.
So, so basically by cutting that in half, every player who enters bounty is losing 6,400 bounty right off the bat. So all the low guys, all the low level players, and all the mid level players who enter bounty and depend on that drip to get what they want is now absolutely screwed. And they try to act like, oh, they really done you a favor by increasing the replica bases by 10%. On average, on average, the replica bases you're hitting are 400 points, that means you're only getting an extra 40 points per replica base. That means to make up for the 6,400 points you're missing out on your drip now, you have to hit a minimum of 160 mat bases to be able to get that 6,400 points back that you're now missing. So there you go.
And I have a big problem with this part too, because my issue with this is participation levels. I would like to see increase for bounty. I would like people to have a happier experiences with bounty than they were having in the past. Even, I mean, I've had one that I came out of really, really happy, had a good time with, but that's about it. So I'm looking at higher participation levels, not lowering. This, in my opinion, will lower the participation level. That's opposite of what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something that people want to enter because it's fun, because it's rewarding, and let's be honest, the people that this affects are those people, the lower to mid-level players that are on the edge of being able to do bounty. Cut them some slack, give them the points.
It's not just them that it affects either. It's like people that I don't know, people that fucking work for a living, and don't have all day to go around hitting map targets, and they're just like, oh, I only have so much time to do it, and now you've just like screwed me out of 6,400 points. Yeah,
it's not a small amount to be losing. It's it's quite a bit. And when you look at those lower prizes, it's what are we talking about, 2 or 3 prizes? It's a lot. There's no doubt about it. And remember, like 2 months ago, when the replica bases were added, remember the buzz around all the pages. Everyone was happy. Everyone was excited. Don't see that this time. I wonder why.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest complaint we had about last bounty is it was such a grind. And so what's their response to that? Oh, let's take away half of the free points that you get. Make it even more of a grind. And it costs more repair times. Make you have to hit more shit. Yeah. Yeah. You really listened to our feedback, Kixeye. Good job. Please note sarcasm.
And
I feel like I should have a Jesus meme here that even Jesus doesn't know what to say about your stupidity.
Oh dear. All right. So the season information, pretty much the same as every bounty we've done before. So your steal percentage, successfully defeating a base will allow you to steal 50% of their unsecured bounty. There's 5 nexuses per world. They'll drip 25 bounty every 60 minutes. There's 2 rounds of nexus spawns. The first set will last from Thursday until Friday at 3 p.m. Sorry, I'm getting tongue-tied. The Nexus expiration bonus will be 2,000 bounty. You must log in and claim this bounty bonus on Friday the 27th from 3 to 4:55 PST. So sorry if you can't make it in that hour and 55 minutes. Another round of Nexuses will spawn on Friday at 5 p.m. and expire when the season ends. You'll have until the end of the store to log in and claim the expiration bonus, which will be 4,400 bounty for the second set of Nexuses. If you're going to switch alliances for the bounty season, make sure you do so before the season begins. It's too late now. If you change alliances after bounty starts, you may not get Nexus drips or the expiration bonus.
Right. Okay. The replica bases, these are labeled your opponent on the world map as they have been in the past. These are copies of real player bases that are spawned as NPC targets, and they pay out bounty. Anyone who does participate in these last season could be copied, but the spawning is random also. Each replica base can pay out a bounty within a range of values, and the payout for replica bases has been increased by 10%. Now, just on this slide here, I wanted to say that, they do seem to be updated current. In the past, I don't know about this bounty, but in the past they seem to be updated current. So be aware of that. I mean,
all right, so now we've got all your checkpoints. So the same times and levels. Obviously, it will take you longer to get there now. Even with the increased 10%, it should at least be 20 or even 30 perhaps. So Thursday, you've got your 2,000, your checkpoints at each 2,000, and then after that you go into your chests with your final checkpoint being checkpoint 5 at 10,000. Friday the same, Saturday is the same as well, and then Sunday is the big whammy right at the end. So your chest then is 8,000, 16,000, 32,000, and then 57,120, which you don't want to be at.
You don't want to be there long. Okay. Yeah. And then we have some of the prizes here. And for we can go over that. For 1,700, 1,700, you can pick up the 12-hour ship build tokens. We're going to have a limit of 1 for those. You can pick up the sloth print. You can pick up the inverted, innovated explosive sloth special, or the hedgehog mortar sloth weapon. You can get the 24-hour structure build token, and that's also limited to 1. Now, for 2,400 points, you could pick up the war plating 3. I know that a lot of people have been asking for that. You can also get the Millennium gun and the high velocity rounds. Those are big things if you missed those in the past. You also can get the Survivor times 1. The limit of 5, but 1 per claim. Right. Okay. So the Conquest Yard also, you get a 1 24-hour token, a limit of 5 also on those. So those are pretty decent prizes there.
Did anyone else think it was strange that the Millennium Gun and HVR have made it into a PvP event?
I think they're almost a fill. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, but if you think about it, Millennium Gun was for siege cycles, which means it's going to do a whole lot more damage and to buildings and walls. So it does kind of make sense that it would be find its way into PvP.
Yeah, that's true. It's also good to have it out there at a low price for people who haven't got it already. So at 5,000 points, you get the CMXM Reloader, which is a really good special. Nightwatch countermeasures, LED panels 3, that hasn't been offered in an awful long time. The SSKP enhancement, which is a really good one. There you go.
And then for 10,000, the You're going to pick up the big ones here. You're going to be able to pick up a Warden, and you'll be able to claim this three times. You could be able to pick up these tactical focuses now. These are big, but however, there's still a limit of 5 claims on these. So you get 1 claim per redeem. And I think is there a cap on the tactical focuses that you can have? I mean,
I know the cap was 5. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if the cap has changed or not now, though.
In my opinion, I believe the cap is still 5. I don't want to misquote that, but so everybody check that. That's a pretty big, important thing. I'm sorry I haven't checked ahead of time. You can also get the bus, another bus, so you can increase your capacity to 2, and that's a pretty big thing. So you also get the field extinguisher. You can get this. That's attack modules, by the way. I'm sorry, and you can pick this up and 3 of those. And also new is the penetrative force you can get, and the explosive scope, along with the Dave Onslaught skin. Now, there also is the Thunderbolt missile storm cruiser skin, for 10,000 points. Now, the Dave Onslaught skin is pretty impressive looking. I must say that. It's to me, it's not worth the 10,000 points, but it's a nice looking artwork.
I was just having a look at the tactical focuses.
Yeah, so that's what I was doing too, and it is limited to 5 still.
Yeah. Right, sorry about that. Okay, so for 12,000 points, now we start getting into the real gutsy stuff, because it's going to really matter. So you've got the new Blunderbuss 2 turret ×1, so you can claim that twice, 24,000 points, and the new Vulture Missile 2, and you can redeem that twice. So both of those will buff your halos for the Blunderbuss and the Executioner 2 for the Vulture, and the Halo, not that matters. And for 20,000, we have the new flagship Warden, and you can claim that once.
Now, these are huge to me. Yeah. Not so much the hull. I mean, in all honesty, I'm looking at the flag Warden, and I'm seeing, oh, geez, I'm going to have to lose my flag. Well, to compete with the hull I have in there now, it's going to have to do a little bit more than what I see on paper. So I'm interested to see it. Oh, okay. And we have this right here, by the way.
Yeah, I was going to say, we might as well talk about it, and then we're going to start talking about that part.
Yeah, we can go straight into the High Guard Warden here. And it's a Draconian Defender hull. Now, the max weight is 20,000 tons. The armor pointed head comes with it is 2,327,500. It is flagship only. So that's what I was talking about. Comes with this. It does come with an accuracy buff of 25%, projectile speed of 125%, penetrative range 15%, explosive range 22%. Penetrative reload is 50%, along with the mortar reload and rocket reload. It's also 50%. Remote targeting range on this is 140%, and it does also, like the original Warden, remote target missile and mortar. There is a remote targeting fall off of 25%. The countermeasure range is a bonus of 150%. Countermeasure reload is 25%. Now it has an anti-mortar and anti-mortar missile range buff of 150%, and an anti-mortar and anti-missile reload buff of 25%. This all comes really beefed up stock. I mean, penetrative and explosive defense is high. It comes at 562,144 for both penetrative and explosive deflections. Is very high. It's 100% defense handicap. The pass-through amounts are 360 across the board. The turn speed on this is 30 miles an hour, and it does have a map speed of 50. So it will not move. It will just turn like the Warden. It does have thermal imaging of 95, a repair of 3 hours. Now, this one here extinguishes enemy fire fields for a range of 200. It decreases their combat speed 35%. It decreases their projectile speed 65%, and also their turn speed at 40%. Now it affects another effects all defenders in the fleet is it's duplicate Aura Cap 1, of course, because it's a flagship in my opinion here. And then it affects all friendly ships. Projectile speed is increased 35%. Explosive reload is increased 40%. Penetrative reload is 40%. So those are pretty big buffs right there. Affected class is defender. So it does affect all weapon styles. It cannot be used with remote targeting. And then let's see, weapon type. Missile, I'm not sure what this is. Cannot be used. Okay, I'm sorry. The effect cannot be used for remote targeting. It's got a secondary weapon type thing that goes off, and so it's random, and it's going to be a missile penetrative damage. Projectile speeds is 650. The range is going to be 30. It's going to reduce your combat speed 15%. It's going to reduce your explosive and penetrative deflection along a great deal, actually. I say is what, 300,000 is that? And will also decrease your turn speed when that weapon fires.
It's 30,000, not 300.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, okay. That was so. It's an interesting hull. It's got some great stats in it as far as on paper to me. It's lacking in what I thought the Warden itself was lacking, still is lacking. It doesn't have enough weapon slots to be a contender with what I need to take out of my base to replace.
I'm just going to throw this out there. The regular version of this hull doesn't work, so why should I have any faith that the flagship version is going to work?
Yeah, I guess, I mean, really, it does have a nice look skin. The artwork, the art department's nice. and possibly, with the duplicate aura, right? Well, if you had multiple, I'm thinking if you had multiple wardens already, that this might be a benefit, I guess. For me, it's not at this point in time, but I don't know. It'll be
it's something that coming down eventually. It might be something that could be useful maybe, because I'm looking at the extinguishing enemy fire fields, and the special ever again extinguishes enemy fire fields. So that's also something else, along with the spike getting its 900k radioactive deflection. Like, all three of those things lead me to believe that there might be something radioactive coming soon, whether it's a launcher or a thrower or whatever. Yeah, but I don't know. At this point right now, with this big subpar underperformance that the actual Warden itself had, I don't know why the hell I would want to buy the flag for it.
Is that a landing strip on the back? Maybe little fighter planes come out of it.
Oh, there you go. But yeah, the skin's cool. I mean, if you like skins.
Well, and depending on the pass-through, what's going to be up with the pass-throughs, the new damage added bonus, or do damage values. The Warden does stand up a little bit longer than some of the other hulls, for sure. So, I mean, depending on what they do, how that's altered or changed.
Yeah, well, we could get stuck with this and 2 or 3 Wardens in the base, because using Conquerors as defenders isn't going to work anymore. So we'll see what happens.
Right. Well, I think
it's one hell of a stat block, by the way, too.
Yeah.
So we talked before, this is one of the prizes. So it's a limited blueprint. So I'm gathering you can have, what was the redeem on this? Was it 5?
3.
Sorry, we
3.
did say 3. That's right. Yep. So it removes hostile field effects within its range. 500 tons weight, so that's really good. Only good for your conquerors and defenders, obviously. It's got a berserk duration, and there seems to be a lot coming out with this berserk duration, but I haven't really seen an awful lot of it yet to know what's going on. It's got an overload cooldown of 10 seconds, duplicate aura cap of 1, range of 80, and it's cold snap immune, which is another thing that seems to be coming back in a big way as well.
Right. Well, the explosive scope is next. So it's also a Conqueror Defender special, Legion Tech. Now this was weight is 15%. And this one here to me is a huge change in the game. It's an explosive range of plus 9%. Now it does come with an explosive damage decrease of 35%, but I would think I'm looking at this and thinking, oh my gosh, and truly I believe that everyone has to redesign their base. I understand that it comes with an explosive damage reduction. However, that this is not how I would use this. I think that this will change. It will have some benefits to your guard, but I believe in as far as base design, it's going to be very everything's going to change by another tile for me. I mean everything. The location of my guard, my OP, my island. It's just this is a game changer for me. Does everyone think the same, or?
I don't know, because like minus 35% is a pretty significant value. You know, you're losing almost half of your damage at that point in time. So I don't know. I'm interested. What would be interesting to see what other specials it stacks with.
Right, and we do not know that. We don't know if it's possible. I mean, is it really going to be possible to stand off and hit someone's OP from the outside with an onslaught? Is my question.
Well, I'm even thinking too, like, you know, on your guard fleet that you have your lockdown rockets on. You know, if you can stack this with flanged warheads that give you the plus 14% or whatever, so you get an extra 23% range on your lockdown rockets, so you start slowing them down even sooner. That might have potential there.
Right.
So it'll just we'll have to look into it and see what it stacks with. But as far as base redesigns, maybe I'm not 100% sure.
I just don't want to be using it as a spotter on a spotter hull to pick the range up, and then because there's still some nasty sloth fleets on the water, and if they can hit your OP and island from the rim.
Yeah.
It's an interesting one. Okay, and the next one is the kind of the opposite, but for missiles. So this is the missile version. So it decreases the range of penetrative weaponry in exchange for extra firepower. So you're losing 9%, but you're gaining 35%. So this one will be another interesting one to see how it works, what it stacks with, etc. Because now that you're adding 35%, it's going to be interesting, I think.
Yeah, I'm much more willing to give up 9% range to gain 35% damage, to be totally honest, especially with missile cruisers.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, 35% is big. That's going to put these numbers high. It really is going to surpass deflection on almost everything I have. So, I mean, it's big.
It's quite a low weight too. So it's not going to be, so much of a penalty as some of the other specials that we fit. So it'll be interesting.
And then we have the base weapon, the Vulture Missile 2. Now, this is just a up version of the original Vulture missile. It's also Forsaken Tech, and it's tier 7. It consumes 14,000 power. It's a missile, a penetrative type of damage. The projectile speed is 110. Accuracy is 75. The range on it is 73. It has a damage of 208,064. Reload time is decent, 5. It has an explosive damage with it also of 2008 and 64. It comes with it has penetrative defense bypass also, and also an explosive defense bypass. Flak evasion is 40%. Now this carries with it on the special ability. It has a 50% chance of critical damage when the attacker is below 50% health. And so that really comes into play on placement, possibly on where you might want to, if you're going to use this for damage instead of, well, I better cover the duplicate auric cap comes with this also for tier 7 penetrative weapons. So adding this Vulture missile 2 will really, really enhance your executioner 2 so that you are currently have in your base, along with the Halos too. So
correct. Like people have already been saying to me, but Damnation, the damage on the Vulture missile sucks. And I say to them, who cares? You don't care about it. All you care about is that 25% buff that it's pushing out to your X2s. Because guess what? I was doing the math earlier today, and get 2 of these put in your base along with your 2 Halos and your 4 X2s that are in there. Guess what? You can overcome the missile deflection that missile cruisers have.
correct. Yeah.
And not by just a little bit either, by a pretty good little chunk.
Right. And so, yeah, and those are huge numbers. So we're talking your base will actually do something again. Your missile turrets will definitely do something when these Vulture missiles are added. And in honesty, if you do use them in the inside of your base in the last defense, they really will do some damage when they hit the critical point. I'm not sure about prior to that, but I think they will possibly, with the correct supports at the critical point.
Yeah, I haven't gone through and done the math for these, and the 825% in on them. But yeah, that'll be something I might do after the show and try to figure that out and see what end damage values they have on crits.
Okay.
Okay, so then we have the Blunderbuss 2. So what have we done? We've rebuilt it. Forsaken engineers have introduced the escalation. So it's damage type ballistic. It's a cannon, obviously. Projectile speed is 2250, 8 splash, 65 spread, a range of 95. Your damage, this is when we're getting our numbers just craziness. So it's 1.2 million. Your reload time's really good, 3.75, and a multi-shot of 12. So you can increase that if you use the right specials, I believe. You've got a ballistic defense bypass of 100%. 2 has a duplicate bonus group cap of 8 with 25% damage going to your halos. So again, this is really about beefing up the base defense weapons and taking our reliance off the base guards.
Right. This is really going to boost the Howies in the same we were just talking about the last special. This one here is going to do the same effect to your Howies. Those that you just saw the damage. They were good for a very brief period, and then that went away. Well, I think this will bring them right back. For how long, I'm not sure, but it will definitely bring them back with the ballistic damage increase.
It depends on who you are. Some Howies are still really, really good.
You're right. Well, that's true.
That's a whole different story, though. But yeah, the thing I like about this is like it does have multi-shot. So if it manages to get off even one shot, that's 12 instances probably of a pass through there. So I mean that's a pretty good deal, if nothing else. Better than better than some of the turrets we have now that aren't really doing nothing. And like you said, it buffs the regular Howie, so it has a couple bonuses.
Right. If range of 95, so you'll have to take that in consideration. But
here, I'll take this one. This is the Dave Onslaught skin. For those of you who don't know, like I didn't, apparently Dave was one of the monsters in Backyard Monsters, and now he has found his way into Battle Pirates on this Onslaught skin. So I do have to say that the skin is pretty cool looking. I just, I mean, I just would have liked to have seen him use somebody more like BP related. Like, why not have a Zoe skin? Have her like in a bikini or something, all stretched out throughout the length of that onslaught or whatever. Just saying.
I think they should have recognized my 3 years in media and made it the Vlad skin. And giving it away in bounty would just be the perfect way to give it away, because then I couldn't have my own skin.
Or you know what they could have done? They could have made it a Tome skin, because then at least some remnants of Tome would still be around.
They have used Dave before, though. It was used, I don't know, however many years ago now. It'd be 2, 3...
On April Fools, right? Wasn't?
Yeah, April Fools is a pinch rocket.
Yeah. Dave appeared on the launch pad.
Yep. I like it, but I'm not going to spend 10,000 bounty points on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's neat, but just for anybody who has never played or heard anything about Backyard Monsters, they're like, what the hell is this, Yeah. This would have been nice to see it more relevant to the game that we actually play.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm still saying, like, Zoe, bathing suit, skin, right there, bam.
But, the Onslaught already had a skin, So.
Well, yeah, but it was pink and girly.
So the Zoe in the bikini is the manly version. Is that what you're saying?
Right.
Exactly, man.
It's a good looking skin.
I
think it looks pretty
have
cool.
Lawsuits up the wazoo if that happened. Let's continue.
All right.
I don't know. That's the end of the slides.
All right.
There you go. Well done.
Well, all right. So, welcome back, Vlad. Before
I was paying attention. You see, I piped in when he brought out the skin.
No, exactly. That's a good deal. I haven't had a chance to watch chat through this show. In all honesty, so I don't know if people have questions or if we've missed anything. Maybe I want to make sure we've covered
anything. There's a lot to cover.
Right. RB, how's your bounty going?
It's going okay. I'm actually got the day off, so that's why you've got my presence on a weekday for me. So yeah, it's going okay. No real issues. I did have one target reap on me, which is pretty irritating, but I guess we're kind of used to that by now. So
no, say it isn't so. The game is irritating.
I think that those that are not participating currently in bounty are probably doing okay with the half repair. In all honesty, that's always been a big thing for me to. If they really want to create an event, in my opinion, is create the half repair event. That alone, I love. That gets me on to play, and that actually gets me to do all different facets of the game. Just like I think this half repair is going to get, used in other areas than just bounty. People are going to get their weekly done.
We were talking earlier in the hangout, and it's like when they came out with the half repair, and we were like, wow, this really does feel like a second monthly raid now. We have half repair even going.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that half repair is created because of blunders, and it's a makeup, and it's a way of saying, oh, it's kind of, we didn't think this through, and that's our way of making it. I'm saying I really like they did do once. They did do, and I props to them. But I like the the 4-day or whatever it was the half repair weekend. Boy, I tell you what, if you wanted to talk about activity and pleasant activity, people were happy to be online. I enjoyed that weekend. So I'm very glad to see this half repair thing again. And for those that aren't doing bounty, please take advantage of it and go do those things that so you can take advantage of this.
I ran across a map replica base where my missile cruiser got 3-shotted, so that was fun.
I hit a map replica base that did the same thing, and whoa! And I
sent I took my screenshot of the base ID and I sent my ticket in. And I said, please trace this back to the original player and do a scan for me.
Yeah. That was before the half repair kicked in too, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Sadly, the half repair is not going to work for the single TLC we have running right now, but people would be well advised to at least get most of their FM done while you can do it at half repairs.
Great time to go out and farm titanium too, actually, to be honest, at half repairs, because all these Defender and Conqueror holes that we get take 200,000 titanium just for blank holes, and then certain components can take up to 70,000 titanium. So yeah, go out and farm your titanium while you're on half repair. Good time for it.
Well, and something that our mutual friend Alona has mentioned more than once, especially if you have build tokens to do it, and the base build on a lot of these Conqueror hulls is pretty low, 2 or 3 days. Don't be afraid to drop one in your regular shipyard where you don't necessarily have to come up with 200,000 in titanium, and then throw a token or two at it and get it out of there quick. And if you're only tying up your regular shipyard for 8 to 16 hours to save yourself 200,000 titanium, that may be a deal that appeals to you.
True.
That's in all honesty, that's just a smart business financial decision. If you're going to spend any coins at all, that's a great way to do it. I mean, regardless of you're spending that much in time alone getting the titanium needed, in my opinion. And so, yeah, that's a great tip.
Just a question going backwards, because I don't remember seeing it, and I don't remember if we just missed it or whether it's just me or whatever, but are we still getting the points for base defense?
We indeed are. We are.
Good.
So that has not changed.
Okay, excellent. I didn't remember seeing it there, and I was like,
Yeah, I don't remember seeing that back in the slides either. It might have been something we just skipped over, or Ross had a couple slides that were really, really wordy, and I deleted one or two of them, and it might have been in one of those.
It works.
As long as it's still there, that's all that matters. So you get those gunboat hits in to secure your levels if you need them, or just if you want to see a little gunboat come in.
Well, I want to touch on that. I see it happening exactly where I'm at, and my own alliance does it, and I used to do it in the past. And I want to say when the date flips and you can do that again, don't just rush out and have in comms to everybody hit each other with the gunboat.
Yeah.
Use this to your advantage when you're getting close to those points, when you actually have some points to lose, right? Instead of your beginning, you don't have anything to lose. Use this to your advantage when you're within that secure range. Then call in your buddy with the Corvette or the gunboat at that point. So I mean, really, play smart. These secure points are really, really crucial in being a successful bounty player. You can score all the bounty you want, but if you're not able to secure it, believe me, other people will have it. And so play smart and just know the points, those cutoff points, and play up to them. Relax, do other parts of the game, go do your weekly mission, and then come back when you're, another day is gone. That's how I truly recommend. I see these people already, and they really are going high on the numbers day one, and I just that's setting you up to get hit quite a lot, and I just want that out there.
Yeah, I think we've all seen it, that you'll see 4 gunboat hits, and then all of a sudden, in the next second, somebody swoops in, and then it's all gone. So it is about timing, and you want to be able to secure it if you're going to get that done. So
right,
it's good advice.
All right. Well, I haven't seen any more questions from chat, so I guess we're probably going to call it there. Otherwise, we could just ramble on for hours and hours and hours.
You don't want that.
But we're not going to do that because I'm pulling the plug. And so thanks, guys, for coming out. Appreciate you in chat. You're always a help add to the show. RB, good to see you here, man. You got to get some days off more often.
Yeah, thanks.
He's like, yeah, whatever. I've been up since 4 o'clock this morning. And now I'm ready to go to bed.
Well, thanks for putting up with me anyway and my stupid Australian ways.
Oh, you're good. You're good. Ross, always a pleasure, my friend. And Vlad, it's even good to see you once in a while.
Easy, Gregor. Thanks a lot for having me. Everybody have a good evening.
All right. Night, guys. Give us a like and subscribe and share us on your pages.
Yep.